Decode. I'm not even live yet. Good morning. Give it a second. Just woke up. Thank you, God, for another morning. Let's bless this stream with wisdom, focus, and wins worth celebrating. Let's get this going. The only thing I'm in right now is CYRX. I just woke up probably, I don't know, less than probably 15 minutes ago. And I pulled up CYRX. I saw it was a retest. And I got in, I think my entry is 916. So I got a pretty good entry on this one. So I'm just letting this one fall. But this is the only thing I have played this morning. Let me make sure that it's working. Good morning. Good morning. Cool. So I'm still traveling. I was supposed to already be home by now. So apologies if there's a little bit more of a latency this morning, but yeah, let's get into it. So I'm out of this position. So I was playing this position, but my profit zone was right here at 823. Might have jumped out a little bit early. I could definitely see this keep falling, but played it from 916 to about 823. So not a terrible play. Is there anything else moving right now? And Remy, I don't know if you were on, but you had a good call in the circle group, XELB. Let's pull that one up. Let's see what this one's doing. Yeah, that was a nice retest call, Remy. I was too late or I wasn't awake. But let's see what else is going on out there. I'm not seeing much. It turned out to be a pretty good spot to take profits because it is bouncing back. Potential VWAP retest. I'm going to wait for it to get back up here to 9 before I re-enter. There might be a play here, and then it just keeps going down. But I'm not going to jump in just yet. Anything else y'all are looking at? CYRX. Yeah, that's the one I was just talking about playing. Y'all hear me? Yes, okay. And Steven might hop on, he might not hop on. He said his broker was giving him some trouble. Like he couldn't log into it, which is not fun. I sent him my TradeZero affiliate link. Give me a second, guys. I'm just trying to get all set up. Then I'll start digging in more. I'm pulling it up on my phone as well, or trying to pull it up on my phone so I can see the comments. It's a little bit more difficult when I travel because I can't see the comments, but I got it pulled up. Ian, BTAI. Oh, nice retest here too. All right, I'm in it. It did break the high, so if it breaks a new high, I'm not concerned with like an initial wick break. Y'all know how I play these. I like to see the candles close. That's just a fake out candle. But if it fakes out, then breaks a new high above this, I might skedaddle, or at least trim down my position. And it looks like it might do it right here. Pull it up on the 1 minute. See if this candle holds in the next 12 seconds over. I usually like the 5 minute candle for a confirmation. 1 minute confirmations don't always do it for me, but I wanted to see what the 1 minute was looking like. So let's pull up the 5 minute. Yeah, I'm gonna get out of it or trim down a little bit. Oh, I don't like this daily though. It'll probably retrace back to VWAP at some point, but I mean, this is bullish. I like the 1 day pops. I don't like the multi-day grinders. It's telling you a clear story, but it's bullish. You can still make money on these pops, of course. It's gonna, like I said, it'll come back down to VWAP. I probably should have waited to trim my position till the candle closed, but again, it's a double-edged sword. You can wait for the candle to close, but sometimes when it breaks a new high, the candle might close and it's at a $4.10. So, and that's a decent sized loss. So it's kind of a balancing act. I treat it out, wait for the candle to close unless it makes like a drastic move up. Then you kind of have to cut because you can get down in your position pretty quick. But I'm still in half my position. But yeah, I don't really like this play. I don't like these multi-day runners. Steven just texted me. He said his broker he still can't log into his broker, so he won't be joining unless he can figure that out here soon. Nice, 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 Alexandra. That's exciting, bro. That's your next step. BTAI buying on volume. Come on, the volume candle. Looks like there's a lot of buyers. I never, yeah, no, I never look at volume. Probably should. I have it on my chart because everybody talks about it, but I don't utilize it as good as I should, probably. So yeah, this is only second play I've played. The first one was just a retest, similar to what I tried with BTAI. Played out a little bit nicer with CYRX. Took profit at 823. This one's gonna come back to reality at some point. But to your point, there is some volume coming in, so I'll probably take all my profit in the 360 to 356 range. It could break through and come back to 3, but I don't see a lot of stocks moving this morning. Like the top gainers are in the 30s again, so this might be the ticker that gets hot. It's a big ask, so it should keep coming down. Just ate that ask up though. I got my first take profit at 361. Let's see if it gets there. It's 364. Another decent sized ask at 366, but let's see if it can drive it down. Boom. Okay. I am out. That was basically a break even play for me, but at least it wasn't a loss. Because I trimmed a little early. Should have waited for the candle to close, but I'm gonna be honest. It broke a good like 14 cents above it. So if I would have waited for the candle to close, it could have been up to past 4 or something. So never mad at myself for taking some risk off, because that's my downfall. But as I mature as a trader, I try to limit my risk. Last year, I made a decent amount of money, but I was taking a little bit too many risks. So I'll take break even on that one. Nice job. No, Ordo, you said I use cumulative volume delta, not simple volume. I don't know if that is reliable, but if I see a candle up and CVD down, most probably that means short or get out of longs. No, and then I see you say, but I suck at trading, so don't listen to me. No, bro, I always take notes of y'all's comments. I've learned more from my message section than I have from gurus, so I'll look into it. Because a lot of people preach about volume, and it's just never helped me with my edge, like at all. Like I just don't use it. But good to know. Good morning, Colin. Nice to see you on here. Yeah, Cordo, I'll look at that. I'm out of this one. I jumped out at VWAP. Probably shouldn't have. Nice little retest. This one it it was a decent retest, but y'all have heard me talk about it. When we see a big green candle like this and it breaks a new high, I like to see the candle close before I bail out. And I've done it 2 days in a row. I bailed out a little too early, but I know BTAI. I'm very familiar with it. And if you look at I shouldn't say bailed out, I trimmed down my position, but if you look at the daily, that's what makes me a little cautious with this one. It's a multi-day runner at this point. I don't like multi-day runners. I like one-day pops. I mean, I'll play these, but you almost have some insurance with the pops because you know it's going to come back. Well, I shouldn't say you know. There's a good chance it's going to come back to reality where a multi-day runner, the trend is showing you that it's just going to keep going up. So if you get trapped in a multi-day runner, it's really hard to get out smoothly. But good call. I can't remember who said this one. I didn't fully take advantage of it, but good play. Ian, yeah, you called it out. See what. This is the only other play I've played. I know I've said this already, but there's people still hopping on. I probably got out of this one too quick too. So I played the retest, had a pretty good entry, 916, got out at 823, almost timed the bottom, but I probably should have re-entered at the VWAP retest. It'll probably come back down to the 200 at some point. I didn't see any news on this one. They had earnings yesterday and they beat revenue estimates, so not bad. Bordeaux out at 345. Nice play, bro. Nice stuff. Ian, you make some money on it? It's your call. Thanks for your input on BTAI. I didn't look at the daily before entering. Did profit on it, but I got out too early. Yeah, I probably didn't help with that. I told y'all where I got out. Yeah, I mean, again, you can make money. This is the best way to make money on both multi-day runners is if it's hanging out in the 310, 320 range, and then it shoots up to, that's an 80-cent move. That's not a bad play, but don't. Obviously, I can give financial advice as educational purposes only. Shorting small caps is risky. There's my disclaimer. But the way I play these is it has to be a pretty drastic move like this when it's a multi-day runner, because the trend is telling us that it wants to. The trend is telling us that it wants to keep going. Back in the day, going back to how I'm a little bit more cautious these days. A 75K loss will do that to you. But I'm a little bit more cautious these days because these multi-day runners, it's easy to get trapped in them. And last year I was a little bit more of a buy and hold type of trader. So if I got in a bind, a lot of the times I could just, as long as the locate fees weren't, or the overnight fees weren't too expensive, I'd hold it and wait for it to fall. And most of the time it worked. But these multi-day runners, if you hold, it potentially will keep going up. But no, it was a good call out. Appreciate it. I just didn't play it. Good. Did not play it well at all. Looking like it's going to be another slow morning. The fact that the highest top gainer, well, now PHGE is back in. We're getting a little pop on PHGE. Martin, I don't know if you're on. I know you had a call out about this one. And somehow you found a way to make money on it because you did the call around 60 cents, which is impressive because you must have caught this move down. But my concern with this one is the news is actually pretty good. Let me find it. Yeah, 13G filing shows Morgan Stanley reports a 7.1% stake. That's a decent sized stake for one. You know, for just Morgan Stanley, they see something that they like about this company. 7.1% stake on a, let's see, PHG. On a, let's see, what's the market cap? On 11 million market cap. That's actually less than $1 million. So it's really not, I guess for Morgan Stanley, that's just a pennies, but it's still a decent size institutional ownership now that'll be added, another 7%. So just being a little cautious with it, because I think the news is decent. Anytime institutional owners or like Morgan Stanley and stuff are adding to the position, it's bullish because obviously they see something they like. But it is hanging above VWAP, or Jesus, I'm misspeaking this morning. It's hanging above the 200 daily SMA, and a lot of these small caps, as you can see, they don't stay above it long. They usually pop above it and fail. But long story short, decent news, so I'm being cautious with this one. I think it could run. I've seen these type of plays run in the past. But pops, like this little pop, that's a play, especially as it approached the bottom side of this move. It's a little bit of a resistance. I just like seeing more drastic moves. Y'all know this, but this week has been slow. I'm not getting these big 50, 100% pops that I really like. So got to make do with what works, or don't trade. But I usually find a way to trade something. Oh, Martin, you're on. Yeah, I was saying I was impressive that you found a way to make money on this one. I know you're a fundamentals guy, but institutions adding to their ownership, that's pretty bullish news. But when I punch the numbers, it's actually less than $1 million that they invested if their market cap is accurate at the time of that 13G filing. So I'm going to be cautious with this one. It could fade and just go right back to 42 cents, but decent news. Slow morning, missed 3 entries. What's BTAI doing now? Oh, I have gut pulled up. Let's just talk about it yesterday. I haven't been playing after hours as much. Martin, speaking of you, I know you called this move. I think you were, yeah, actually you were the one that alerted this. Look at this play. Look at this after hours pop. It got up to 250 and then it closed. I mean, then it got all the way to the 130s. Like, I would have never caught that whole move because I would have got out right here. But crazy move. Crazy move. I haven't been playing after hours as much because they haven't been fading as hard as I like to see. Yeah, I should have held BTAI much longer. But yeah, just play BTAI and CYRX. CYRX went a little bit better than BTAI. I got a little skittish, jumped out right here. Should have waited for the candle to close. I know this, but I didn't want this thing to rip. EHGE overall offering risk is high. Good to know. Oh yeah, this is ugly. How much cash do they have? 2.8 months. Yeah, they need some money. Well, actually, there's nothing else moving. Let's dig into it some. So, what kind of filings do they have? Do they have any S1s? Yeah. Here's one right here. So they have an open S1. What's the date on this? Oh, this is recent. Yeah, they'll be diluted soon. Oh man, these are a bunch of different type of warrants. Okay, yeah. I'm not, and again, I'm not a filings expert. I can read them for the most part, but long story short, this, yeah, they'll be diluting at some point, and it might be today. Or warrants getting exercised or whatever. Like I said, it's early. I don't feel like digging into it too deep, but they have active dilution, which causes selling pressure on the stock. Most y'all know the whole 9 yards. Probably not a bad Probably not a bad long here. I could see it pop again, but I'm not getting in it. But I have a feeling this one pops back up, or at least a VWAP. Whew, it's going to be one of those type of mornings, I guess. Another brutal, slow morning. More PRs come out in 1 minute, so let's see what happens. Sorry if this noise annoys you, but I like to hear it because it reminds me that PRs are coming out. Yeah, this is one of the slower weeks I've seen in a very, very long time. Potentially since the new administration, honestly. Is that all we're getting for 7:30? No. Probably should be cautious with sharing this. It's because I can only share it because I'm traveling, so I only have my laptop, but I'm sure I'm not. Maybe I'm not supposed to. If I pay for it, then I share it free on live. So let me go back to the chart. Didn't see much, so I'm not expecting a lot of movement right now. I better ask some questions or something because there's not going to be much to talk about if nothing's moving. Ordo, would you buy BTAI? So I only buy, I go long occasionally. Like I think I took 2 longs last week. Like, so that's how rare it is. I don't do it very often. Um, but it's got to be like a very obvious play for me because that's just not, most good traders say stick with what you know. I mean, I'm not going to because I'm not that confident in it, but it seems to, every time it gets close to the 200, it seems to bounce. So I mean, it's kind of a trend at this point. If I would consider one if it got to like 3. I'm not going to do it now, and I might not even do it at 3. But if I was to take a position, but again, I'm not the guy you want to ask long questions to because that's just not what I'm good at. But yeah, I would, if it drops to 3, hovers. So that's the key. Like if it's just a strong candle down past it and breaks it, I'm not interested. But if it was to like come down to like 3, hesitate around this level, or if it came down to 3 and immediately burst back up, that would be a potential entry for me. But again, I don't trade longs very often, but multi-day runners like this, is telling you a story. You know, it's clearly wanting to go. And then I would look at the year to date, see where it wants to go. It probably at least wants to get to the 200. That would be my first profit zone. And then, and if it was to break past that, it could potentially get all the way back up here to 7, or at least to this 481 level, or $5 because that's a psychological level. So that's kind of how I look at these. But again, I don't do a lot of long, so there's better people to probably answer that question for you out there. But that's my insight. And I did in 20, what was it, 2022, I was trading small caps and I was only doing longs. And it actually was a profitable year, but it mostly was because I was following pumpers and I could figure out their little system and when to take profit, when to get in. But then 2023, I got into shorting and I haven't really looked back. There's another opportunity with CYRX. VWAP, nice little candle up, or nice little wick up, but there's not very much volume. Yeah, no problem, Ordo. Especially since it's a Wednesday. Still got the rest of the week to run too, if it wanted to. Fridays, I wouldn't take long positions with plans on holding. I mean, you can day trade them, but some of these multi-day runners, they'll run for a while. But when they crack, they usually crack pretty hard. There's first, I'm sure most of y'all heard of the first red day. People talk about that. Like the first day after a multi-day run, it turns red. It usually flushes pretty hard. I don't play it very often because I'm looking at top gainers. So I'm looking at like high percentages up. So I usually miss those. But I know there's a lot of traders out there that do that. And it's almost like a self fulfilling prophecy because everybody jumps in on their short position when it goes red and it just flushes. Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the top gainers, but I'm not going to force conversation. If y'all have any questions, just ask, and I'll gladly share my input. But I'm just going to keep an eye on the top gainers, and if I hear anything pop, you'll hear it too on Trade Ideas, and we'll go from there. But as of right now, my game plan is if CYRX wants to make another retest, I'll enter. PHGE, if it retests the 75 level, I'll enter. BTAI potentially as well. Y'all heard what I feel about the multi-day runner, so it would have to be another drastic pop for me to be interested. But I have a feeling I can't be too picky today. So this one does decide to pop up to that level. Potential entry here, and then another entry before like 4. Actually, I was just thinking I should have looked at the daily before I kind of bailed out on BTAI that last time. If I would have known the 200 was right here at $4, I probably would have at least made it prove it could break that. Because I got in at like 375, and then I got out at 389 because it was a quick move up, but I didn't realize the 200 was right here. Probably would have stuck in it. But again, like I said, this was a break-even play, so I'm not mad at it. And I'm always happy whenever I don't. I'm always happy when I control my risk because I know how I am. I tend to, I wouldn't say the word reckless, but I'll roll the dice sometimes, and I get myself in situations that I should have cut earlier. So I'm trying to be cautious of that. But the good practice is to let this candle close first. But like I was saying, the downside is if you wait long enough and it's ripping, it could close at 420, and then that's a decent loss, you know. That's trading though. You got to figure out your approach, what makes sense for that specific play. Oh, I didn't even see your comment, Ian. EHTH popping. Somehow I missed that. Yeah, I missed this. Yeah, I'm too late to the party, but I probably would have played this one. Oh, it's only got 69K shares traded. I mean, it looks pretty illiquid by these moves. So I might not have taken this one. But I mean, if you would have, I don't even know if you can call this a retest because it's so illiquid. But if you would have played the quote unquote retest, you could have made a few cents on it for sure. Ordo, you were asked probably many times already, and I know how embarrassing it might be, but still, how do you decide to go short? Please disregard my question if I ask too much, bro. It's slow. Ask all your questions you want. How I decide my short. So I don't believe you're in the circle group. Unfortunately, I closed it for now because we're trying to transition to Discord here shortly, and it's just a lot to keep up with. But very detailed descriptions in my circle group. But to sum it up, I trade based on time of day. So 4 a.m. To 6:59 a.m. I trade almost any pops. So if it gets over like 50% or so, I'm going to get in it, because during that time frame, it's usually just pumps because there's no news. But from 7 to 9:30, definitely a lot more strategy goes into it. I like the initial pops that flush down. I like retest like this. And my parameter is under 100 to 200 million. I'll trade up to 200 million. I don't like stocks that are over 200 million. I just got some news. Let's see what it is. Non-binding. So this is fluff news, but let's see if Foxo's popping. Oh, it's 16 cents. This stock is trash. It always gets beaten down. Yeah, see, just like it can never hold its gains. This is basically like Mullen. Wow. I was right, but I didn't expect to be this right. Jeez, it's just, next time they do a reverse split, this might just be worth swinging down. I mean, it just nosedives. But anyways, back to what I was saying, Ordo. Under 200 million market cap. I'm starting to avoid the less than 1 million too. I'll still play them, but I'm extremely cautious. But less than 1 million float, I'm starting to eliminate as well. Chinese, if it's a Chinese ticker, similar to low floats, just be super cautious because they get manipulated as well. So I don't avoid them, but if I'm in a play, you better believe I'm gonna keep my eye on it, because I've seen them do some crazy things. I wish I had some examples I could think of to, but I'm sure some of y'all have seen these Chinese names. They'll go from like 50 cents, I'm not kidding, to like 10, 20 bucks sometimes, because they're manipulated. So, and that's why I say I don't jump in things that are up only 20, 30%. It works till it doesn't work. It works till it doesn't work. And then it rips your face off. And then you got in on the 30% pump, and then you blink your eye and it's at 100%, you know what I mean? So, super cautious with those, because the moves from 20 to 30 to 100 is very quick, but the moves from like 100 to 200, it's usually a little bit more predictable. You usually kind of get an idea, but if they're only up 20, 30% and a lot of volume comes in, they can get up to 100% relatively quick. But in a week like this week, where there's not a lot of liquidity, you don't have to worry about it as much unless it's a very tiny float. But when the market's hot, I just don't play 20 or 30% pops. There's so many other options. And I don't want to get my, again, face ripped off, but that's just how I play it. Steven, he'll play the smaller pops. And he has great success with it. So there's definitely a strategy to it. So long story short, Ordo, let me look through my last trades. A good example. We'll do education since there's nothing popping. Let's see if there's some good play. I think AUUD was a decent one yesterday. Yeah, perfect example, actually. So I love plays like this. One candle, 1 5-minute candle makes like a drastic move like this, I'm immediately looking for an entry because I know how this usually, I shouldn't say I know, what usually works is if there's a drastic move like this, this is a $2 move in one candle. And then once I'll enter sometimes even before I see weakness because I'll scale in. And then once I see like a nice wick up like this and fail, and especially something like this where it tries to attempt to get up above it again and it fails again, that's a good opportunity to add heavy. So those are my favorite plays. And when they flush like this, they don't always flush like this. But if they don't flush like this, then I'm looking to play like the retest. So let's say, similar to this one, similar to BT. Geez, this thing is sketchy. But similar to BTAI, so let's say it flushes down, then it retests that level, then I'm looking for an entry there. So that's kind of how I play pre-market more than anything. I'm starting to play the downtrend some, but it's still not second nature to me. Because like, again, if this breaks a new low like AUUD did right here, Steven will add all the way down. Like he'll add right here. I wait for a little bit of a pop up before I add. I use that as more of like a confirmation. I'm like, okay, it's breaking new lows. Now next pop, I'll enter. Sometimes I miss the move waiting for a pop, but I usually get better entries because of that. But again, Steven, he'll add just on the way down and he's been killing it. So that's how he approaches it. But yeah, so that's pre-market. That's how trade pre-market in a nutshell. Usually the initial pop and the retest plays. And then if it comes back to VWAP like this, I'll sometimes enter if I think it's weak. If it's looking weak. I don't like to play the VWAP retest if it's just like a little, little retest. But if it makes a big move down like this, hits another move and I don't know if y'all, it seemed like it cut out. But yeah, during the day, just a lot of scalping. And then the 200, I posted an alert yesterday and it was actually, not to toot my own horn, but it was a pretty clean alert. Let me find it. What was it? CWD. The reason I'm gonna bring it up is not to flex my alert, but to show how I play these. So I love playing the 200 daily test. Small caps struggle to get above the 200 SMA. And as you can see, it didn't get to it. A lot of times it'll get to the dot and fail. Sometimes it'll get a little bit above it. I was going to play this one all the way up until it broke and held 10, because even if it broke 200, there's a psychological level 10 right here. So the chances of it breaking this and 10 is slim. So I made money on this move. As you can see what happened to it. It gave it all back. Once it acknowledged that 200 and then beautiful flush. The problem was, going back to how I was planning on playing it, I didn't enter very heavy yet because I thought it might still have a little bit more meat on the, like it might make a more drastic move. So I started scaling in above 8. I was going to add heavier around 878. And then my last entry was going to make it prove that it could break through 10. It never got to these levels, so I wasn't in very heavy. Hence, I didn't make that great on it, even though it was a beautiful play, because I actually held it past this flush right here. But I got out right here, and I just wasn't sized accordingly. So made money on it, but wasn't as heavy as I'd like to be. And then after hours, I treat it like pre-market. Very similar. But yeah, that's my shorting strategy in a nutshell. Take it with a grain of salt. My last couple months haven't been great to me. This month's going to be my best month of the year, though. Calling it. Up 11K so far after 3 days of trading, so off to a good start. But January I made 61K, so that's going to It's going to be a tough one to beat because I just don't size very heavy. I'm comfortable in my like 2K to 5 or 6K positions. $2,000 to $6,000 positions, but I'm gonna start going heavier on Fridays because they've been fading hard on Fridays. Stevie. GV. Bro, I need some. That is a pretty move. Let's get some locates. There we go. This is sometimes why I like to let it get a little bit more than just 30% up because this thing is raging now. Now we're in the 50% range. This is the range that I like. So I'm in it at 301. Already up 300 bucks, but I'm gonna hold it. Probably should have took profit, a little bit of profit, but okay, I'm gonna trim some here because like I was saying, I got a pretty good entry on it. So trimming a little here. Then I'm gonna take the rest out around the 250 range. Actually, I got out at 266 and I'm in half my position. I'll pull up the 1 minute, see what it's looking like. Yeah, it's kind of acknowledging that VWAP. That's what I was curious about. Again, so on the 5 minute, it looks a little bit cleaner. And I took some more out at 265. Again, I know I'm taking profit quick, but that's what's been working for me, so I'm gonna keep it up. So took some more at 261. I'm only in 200 shares now. And I'm out. And the reason why I'm out is because 5 minute makes it look more like a clean, well, no, you can see it climbing up, but the 1 minute, see how it's crawling up right here? So if this was just one candle that got here, I would have held it a little bit longer, but it potentially bounces at 250 because that's like a previous level. Could it flush back down? Absolutely, but I think it's going to at least hesitate at this level. Let's see if I'm right. And I'm out now. But like I said, it could flush all the way down, but I think it's going to hesitate a little right here and potentially bounce. Thanks for the update. Thanks for the alert, guys. Alexandru, you can't. Oh yeah, Martin said it. No market orders during pre-market. It's kind of weird, but no market orders during pre-market. So you have to do like limit orders. So it definitely acknowledged that level I marked. And I'm not saying it's going to bounce and break new highs, but again, I like to try to take profits before they start bouncing because I'm a scalper. Like if it gets back to that level, I'm just going to re-enter. And I say I'm a scalper. I buy and I mean I sell and try to hold too, but like again, it's based on what the chart's telling me. Like I said, if that would have just been one intense candle up, I probably would have held, see if it would drop a little bit more, but this one's kind of crawling up, so. Appreciate it, appreciate it. I don't know if that's in regard to Martin. Oh, no, you're not in the group yet, so, um, but yeah, appreciate it, Alexandria. That's honestly something I've been working on a lot is my risk management, which is frustrating because last month like I let one play kind of rock me. But there was a lot of reasons I shouldn't enter that trade, but appreciate it. Been doing this for a while, bro. I'm not gonna say I've seen it all, but I notice there's a lot of new traders. Even if they have success, they'll do some things that I'm just like, oh, it works until it doesn't work, you know. But that's the market though. It takes just reps in the market to learn these things. So Alexandra, I know you're relatively new, so smart. I'm glad you're jumping on these live streams and learning. It's the quickest way. I lost a lot of money before I was profitable, and the whole point of doing what I do is kind of to help y'all's learning curve. So hopefully, I don't have to go through some of the pain points I went through because I'm bad about like trying to do things on my own and not learning from others. And it worked. I became a profitable trader on my own, but I could have eliminated a lot of pain and misery if I just would have opened my eyes a little bit to other successful traders. But yeah, thanks for the call out on GV, guys. Made about 500 bucks on it. Got in 1,000 shares, a little over 3. Took profit around the 260, so probably more in the high 400s, I guess, but not bad for me. Because like I said, most of my positions are anywhere from 2 to 5K usually. And I just kind of quantity, like I just trade a lot in pre-market. There's certain traders that'll only take like one trade a day, and
LREXELB.
That's not me. So let's see what news is coming in. It seems like we're getting some decent news. Trade Ideas kind of fakes us out at 8 o'clock. I don't know why it glitches out sometimes, but
CYRX.
Is it popping again? No, that was another fake out. But anyways, any alert we hear after this point should be legit. So let's see. Got my top gainers pulled up, but not seeing too much yet. Dang, 8 o'clock is usually when we have the best news too. What a weird market, small cap market we're in. Just like it died overnight this week. Like the top gainer on the day at 8 a.m. is 45% up. We haven't seen that in a while. I don't think, at least. I'm used to seeing 100, 200, 300, 400% lately. And look, and GV eventually did fall through that. So made a little bounce. I was going to wait for a complete retest So I'm missing this move. But again, I'm fine with that. I'm going to miss some moves, but I just want to make sure that when I enter these plays, because I'm green on the day, so I just want to keep it that way. But if this thing does pop up, so if this thing pops up again to about this level, 250, I would be interested then. Woodwork and guitars. I'm struggling long trader, and I'm hoping watching you short will help me. Yeah, bro, going long is hard. It's harder. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, it's a tough. I think the reason why only like 1% or 5% of traders, day traders in the small cap world, are successful is because they do try to go long. Longing small caps are tough. That's why I decided to go to the short side. But yeah, no, I think I appreciate you for tuning in, bro. Like, if I can help you become a better long trader, that's a win too. Because a lot of longs, like when they see momentums, the momentum of what was it, BTAI? BTAI. A lot of people like to, especially pull up the 5-minute. Like, a lot of longs like to go like jump in on these candles, and these are usually the candles that usually correct. Like, the best long positions are when it comes back to reality and you kind of just hope it bounces, or comes back to VWAP and hope it bounces. But again, I'm not going to pretend to be a long expert, but going long expert. Alexandru, to be honest, I was 100% more scared when I first found out about shorting, but now because of you guys and especially live stream, I'm getting more confident, not overconfident. Yeah, bro, that's all it is. Reps, just like in the gym, just like with whatever, this is the charts. You got to spend some time in the charts. The longer you do it, the more comfortable you'll get. Because shorting should be scary. It's it could go against you quick, but risk management is important. During the day, you can set up stop losses and all that. It helps, but pre-market, there's no stop losses. I mean, there technically is, but you kind of gotta. I think Nestor shared how you can technically do stop losses in our discussion tab and circle, but it's a little bit more complicated. So yeah, no, it is. You should always be a little scared. Not like scared where you're like nervous, but just always be aware that any of these plays can go against you. So you just got to get out of them whenever your criteria is met to get out of a stock. GV entered 246. Let's see. Let me pull it back up. GV. Did it pop back up a little bit, or did you get it on the down? The move down. Bro, I hope it works out for you, but how much is GV up now? Bro, it's up 14%. Martin, you've been killing it, so I'm not gonna question it, but I'm not about to enter a short position less than 20% up. Mr. 4 profit factor last month, bro. That's crazy. Crazy. Sean, I'm the same, man. I'm along and watch you guys understand better where shorts are entering, so I'm doing the opposite and staying out. Oh, perfect. Sean, you're a spy. Martin. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I wish I was a better long trader. I was 2 for 2 last week, but I got to be very particular because I'm not a good long trader. And most people aren't. It's more difficult. Most of these fade away back to where they started. But if you master that skill, it's a very valuable one for sure. I couldn't figure it out consistently. Like I said, in 2022, I was long, and overall I ended green. But like I said, I was mostly following like a pumper, and I figured out his system of how things work. It wasn't because I was a good trader. But that's how I am. I find, y'all know at this point, I like to just find holes where I can. Gaps. AIMD. AIMD. Oh, nice. Nice, nice. We're getting a little pop here. Previous level at 330. So let's keep an eye on this one. I went ahead and got locates, but I'm not interested in it yet. Not to beat a dead horse, but it's only up 20%.
IPDN.
And I'm just not as good at those. So I want to see if it gets closer to the $3 level before I enter. So what was that trade idea alert? IPDN. It's not up very much right now. IP. Was a pretty nice play and got all the way up to 270. A little bit more interested in this one right now. Still not up very much, but it's looking weak. Let's see if it bounces here. Locates aren't too bad price, so I might miss this one. I'm not going to enter unless it gets a little bit higher. But it might flush down here. I'm going to have to change up my entry criteria. Nothing's popping 50%. Crazy. I mean, probably up here it was 50%, but oh, nice call. Nice call on this one. Who was this? Focos? Beautiful flush. Hope you caught that one. It does seem much easier to short than long, though. The highs are easier to predict. It's just the risk, like when a vape comes along. Oh, bro, yeah, vape got me. Vape got me. But I shouldn't have ever entered that. My criteria is 50 cents to 20 cents. Or $20. I just broke my rules. And every time I break my rules, every time I've had a big loss this year, it's been me breaking my rules. So that's more of a discipline thing than anything. Because if a stock's trading 30, 70, whatever dollars, it's usually a low float. If the market cap's only like 10 million or something, you know. But yeah, no, it is easier. That's why I don't pretend to be the best trader in the world. I just try to find holes. I'm just trying to make money. I could care less if I'm the best trader. I'm just trying to make money. And I've had months where I've had green days every day. Trying to talk y'all into the dark side. But now again, if long's where your edges, stick with it. You know what I mean? But if it's not, there's something to shorting for sure. Do you need a margin account in order to short? Yes. But again, most of them is easy to get. You pick your leverage. I only have 2x leverage in my TradeZero account. Justin, if you don't use the locates, you keep them for other time or they just expire. They expire at the end of the day, but you can sell them back to the broker. You don't get as much as you sold them for. Like if you bought them for $4, you're probably gonna get 10% of what you bought them for. Like, you know, like maybe you get 40 cents back or something. But sometimes I'll use them up, and then at the end of the day, I'll sell them all back for credit. But if they're not in need, but there's also an asterisk beside that. Sometimes they don't want them back, so you don't always get your money back. If it's like a stock that died and nobody's trying to get locates, you usually don't get a credit back. No, Woodworks. Are you in the States or international? US. Yeah, I think you need 25K. I do think you need 25K if you're in the United States. But not, I mean, if you trade more than what's the PDT rules, you do. But if you stick to whatever it is, what, 3, 4 trades a week, whatever it is, I already forgot. It's been a while since I've had to pay attention to the PDT rules. It looks like it might be potentially changing here soon, the PDT rules, but until then, yeah, you need 25K. 3 a week under 25K. Yeah. Yeah, and that keeps a lot of US traders out. That's why I like my international traders. I think TradeZero, you only need $500 or something, and you can day trade your little heart away. Oh, I forgot about this play. Did it ever retest? No. This one will probably end up fading. There it goes. Well, and it's funny. The only reason I got into shorting is, again, I don't really learn from others as much as I should, but I was like, man, if I did the opposite of what I was doing, I would have made money. Because longs is rough. It was rough for me outside of following the pumpers. I found a little system that way, but even that got dialed in a little bit. They quit pumping the stocks. Because this one dude, Zip Trader, I'm not kidding. Like if you were part of his membership, he would post what stocks he was going to pump in his YouTube video beforehand. A lot of us would pile into the stock. Then he would post the YouTube video, and it would just rage, because this was during 2022 when small caps were going ham. And it was like easy money. Then you got out. Like that was the only way I was able to make money going long. but I think he got slapped on the wrist for that, or slapped on the hand, or whatever that terminology goes, because he stopped doing it. So there might be a retest play here that if it gets back up to the 285, 290, I might enter this one this time. Yeah. Again, it's not up as much as I would like for it to be. It's only up 19%, so I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play it light. All right, I'm in at 284. Let's see. It kind of honored this. Which one is this? This is the 9. Yeah. It's kind of on. Oh no, this is the 20, the light blue. So if it breaks and holds below this, that'll be a very good sign. I might potentially, well, if this was up more, I would, just for education reasons, I'll talk through my thought process. But if this was up, 50% or so, if it broke and held through like the 20, again, if I saw another pop towards VWAP, then I would enter and let it fade. But I probably won't be adding to this one on the drop. And if it breaks a new high, I'm just going to get out and potentially re-enter around this level. It's the same concept, retest. And again, these don't always work too. For some of y'all that are new, like, it's a risk versus reward play. So that's all this is. So if I get in at like, let's say 325, I risk up to like, let's just say 335. I'm only risking 10 cents. Let's say I'm even more brave and I risk 15 cents. But if I get it right, it's breaking a new high. I see AIMD. But if I'm right, like, look at this. This is a 330 to, yeah, so like $1 move. So that's the whole concept with the retest. You don't always get them right, but it's just a good risk versus reward. It didn't hold over. It immediately flushed back down, so I'm still in it. But I wouldn't be surprised if it does try to test this 330 level. But that's a good sign. It couldn't hold over it, so I'm still in it at 284. If it breaks above 294, though, I'll probably dip and then just re-enter when it gets closer to that 330 level. But it might fail here. Let's see. I'm not confident either way. Like I said, these are like risk versus reward plays. It's not that they always work. They work a lot, but when they don't work, the trick is just when you can confirm that it's bullish, just get out. Or I get out. Dang, I wish I wouldn't have entered that one. That's all right. I'm out now. I just want to see if it runs a little more. It goes back to my why I don't play these. Still a lot left on this move, so I'm going to wait for, see if it gets to the 330 level. And similar, I got in at 284 and got out at 294. So I risked basically 10 cents. 500 shares, lost $50. I can live with that. SGBX. SGBX. See the comments. Yeah, Alex, you'll start recognizing some of these tickers. It's kind of funny, actually. You'll be like, ah, that's why with the Discord, I like the idea. I'm not sure if you said it or someone else said, oh, this is an interesting level it's at too. Oh, it's only 36 cents. I can't get into it. I see what you said, Golden Pen. But yeah, us making a like library of like previous, what's the correct terminology for this? Like a library of previous plays. So that we can search to see how they played out previously. You know what I mean? And comments. I'm actually looking forward to that. So I'll figure out a way in the Discord group to find a way that we can look up tickers that people have played in the past, and they can leave like their comments and what they saw, how it played out, their thought process. Because again, you could say, well, couldn't you just like scroll back and look at it? Yeah, you can. But again, when you're in the play, it's just different. Like it's hard to explain. Like fake outs, you feel the the emotional roller coaster of trading. It's really hard to put into perspective unless you're actively trading. Woodwork and guitar. So you don't take a position when the momentum's going down. You prefer to wait till it's up and you think it's peaked, correct? Yes, but that's me. That's my strategy. And it's been very fruitful. But there are people that trade. What was the one from yesterday? Dang, I shouldn't have got out of this one. I've been getting faked out a lot today. BWD. So then there's traders like Steven. He would have taken a position like as soon as it broke right here. And then there's traders that trade, once it pops up. So long story short, yeah, I'll try to time the top. But I also, when I see weakness and then a pop back up, I'll enter. So yeah, I'll play the downtrend, but I'm not jumping in on a red candle. That's not my style. I'll wait till it kind of pops back up, and then I'll enter. And it doesn't have to be VWAP. It could just be a random pop. Wow, man, yeah, I played this one bad. That's all right. That's all right. Like I said, I didn't really lose money, so I can live with it. Or I lost $50, so I can live with that. But I entered small, but man, I got faked out on that one. But again, it goes back to, like I said, I'm more comfortable trading in the 50% plus ones because these I do get faked out a lot because deep in my mind, I know it's only up 20% and this thing can rip. So maybe it's more of a psychology reason why I'm not good at these. Because I got my face ripped off by so many of these getting in too early. But yeah, woodwork and guitars. Hopefully that answered your question. Yeah, I'll try to time the top. And I usually don't go heavy. I usually kind of scale into a position unless, going back to CWD, unless there's something like this that is approaching, then I'll start adding a little bit heavier. Because that's why I was excited about this one, because there was some congestion in this area right here, the 200 and $10 psychological level. So I was going to bet the farm on it around $9, but it never got there. So I just had a small position. But when you sell the shares you like that. So I'm reading a comment. But when you sell the shares just like that, or again at a set price. In other words, if you have time, can you give us a step-by-step kind of how you execute a trade? Can you elaborate on that a little bit? But when you sell the shares just like that, or again at a set price? I don't know which. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding Alexandru. Sean Ross. Do you feel like you'd be better longing now as well, having the extra couple years experience in the market, even if it was short? Absolutely. My win rate on shorts are great. Like I said, last week I only took 2. The week before that I only took 1, but I think they've all been winners because I'm very particular. But I've taken some losses too. I want to be very clear. I take losses with longs, but I'm a lot more particular about which ones I enter now because I can read charts way better now, learning about the short side, um, and seeing just so many of these play out. So yeah, no, I think I would say yes, Sean, for sure. Because I only take a long now unless if it's super obvious that it's probably going to bounce. Because even like right here, there's probably a loan opportunity right here. It's probably going to bounce. I mean, there's kind of a trend forming, but I'm not. That's not an A+ long setup, so I'm not going to take it. But yeah, honestly, like how you're using it, Sean, to just kind of understand how shorts think, that's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea at all. Because I've learned more about longs by being a short, but I still don't take very many longs because I just think they're not as predictable. Fran said, like Lobo. Yeah, that was a good play, Fran, yesterday on Lobo. Thanks for sharing it in the flex section. Glad you got back on the horse. Pass faders, that's it, Alex. If Discord allows us to tag the dates for plays, could be a cool way to quickly go back to those dates. No, I think that's a great idea. Great idea. Golden pin after split, the chart does not look the same. No, that's a good example. So we screenshot it that day or take an image, it'll be more accurate than looking at historic data. Man, I'm way behind in comments. I'll be missing plays. IPDN. Carlos doesn't comment much, but when he does, it's usually a good play. Let's see. There it is. That is a good play. So it's retesting. Maybe a good thing I didn't see it. I might have jumped in too early. So now I'm going to get back into IPDN here, especially since there's some news coming out. Maybe it'll steal attention away from this. So I'm in my little starter position. It's one of my bigger starter positions, 1,000 shares. So I'll add another 1,000 shares if needed. But big move right here. I expect it to come back to reality a little bit. It might bounce at this level if it wants to stay bullish. It could keep going, but I'm expecting a flush back down. Let's see. Got a really good entry though, so I'm in at 279. There we go. And lately I've been taking profits a little too quick, so I'm gonna try to hold this one down to closer to VWAP or at least 250, but definitely been taking profits very quick. So I'm gonna see if I can hold this one a little bit. Because I like to see a quick flush down. The longer it hangs out in this area, the more likely it's going to do this right here, what it's doing. So what's some levels we got to look at now? Because it looks like it might want to run. There's a lot of congestion in this area. Then it's popped previously to about 319. What's the news on this one? IPD. No news. Or at least according to AskEdgar. Or, I mean, Stock Titan. Oh, they they appointed a new CEO. Is this a Chinese ticker? Professional Diversity Network? Jesus Christ, what is that? So, again, I'm probably gonna get faked out again, but I trimmed some at break even, so I'm only in 500 shares now if it rips, and it looks like it might actually. So I'm gonna use these 500 shares I trimmed. I'm gonna get in at 299 if it wants to get up there. Locate fees are getting a little bit pricey on it though. So I'm back in. I actually ended up adding even more than my 500 shares here. So we'll see what it does at $3 if it honors it, or if it fails it, or if it fails here. So I'm at break even at 289. Not the not the best, but I can live with it. I statistically my win rate goes down after 8:30. After 8:30, just FYI. If they get bullish after this time, they tend to stay bullish. I still think there's a play here. I think it'll come back to VWAP. But just putting that out there. I'm becoming more of a data driven trader, especially when I have a little bit of drawdowns. I start digging in a little bit more. So I actually took some profit at 281 or 281. Didn't make much on it, but again, I'm trying to free up some shares because the locates are so expensive on this one. So only in 1,000 shares now. I'm about 9 cents in the money. I'm just going to see if these fall, and they do. But now I have 1,000 more shares. I'm going to set up here at 298. Because I'm always actively managing my position. It's just kind of talking y'all through my process. It's a way how I get my average to keep going up with the stock. I'll sometimes take profit at break even. Just so if it pops again, or even might even take a small loss on it, just to add, just so I can move it. It's hard to explain, but basically, every time it pops, I'll add a little bit to it, and then when it comes back down, I'll take some profit at break even, and then when it pops again, I'll enter again, and boom, I got out at 261. So pretty good play. Pretty good play. But let's see what that alert was. Oh, LPSN. It might be pretty good because it's up 40% on the alert. Okay. Not having that great of a day. I'm only up like 900 bucks on the day, but I'm kind of trading small and there hasn't been a lot of opportunity, but kind of a soft, or it's definitely a soft morning for me, but not a lot of opportunity. Because y'all know I like to wait till they're over 50%, so I've turned down a lot of these plays. It's like even this one, like there's a play here, but it's still only up 30%. I got some locates because they were only $4 for 1,000 shares, but I'm gonna wait to enter. Alexandru, I mean, when you sell, you just hit the sell button, and then the current price of stock is the price you get. No. Okay, I see what you're saying. Oh, see, I'm gonna let this one run a little bit. I think it has more. Again, after 8:30, guys, I just try to share what I've learned over the years. It could fail here, but after 8:30, when I see pops, they have a tendency to keep running. Um, let's look at levels on this one. So potentially, these are the main ones I'm looking at. This one, this one, and this one. So it's got a little ways to go. I'll probably enter if it gets up to 150, but and somebody asked me if I liked it, why I like to trade on the 5 minute instead of the 1 minute. I trade both, but I like 5 minutes because it prevents me from getting faked out. Watch, even though I got faked out twice today. Um, I like to see that where it closes at 5 minutes. So if it's breaking a new high and the 5 minute candle closes above a new high, that's usually a sign to get out. But if you do that with a 1 minute, you're gonna get faked out more. So that's kind of what it comes down to. It just shows the bigger picture, not getting lost in the 1 minute moves. But again, short term, the 1 minute does share a little bit more, short term what's happening. So it's just I use them both, but I like 5 minute better. LPSN. I already had it up. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, I'm gonna let this one run a little bit more. Oh, and Alexandru, so to answer your question, so no, and we got to remember we sell first, cover. I'll mess it up sometimes too, and I'll say buy and sell, but we're selling first and then we're buying back. So I'll say sell and cover. So no, already have like for what was the one that we just played? Was it this one? Yeah. So I had an order waiting at 263. So I had a cover order or 262. I've been missing all the big moves today. I've been taking profit pretty quick. Um, but I had a cover order at $2.62 waiting for if it flushed. Because a lot of times it'll flush quick and then bounce back. And if you wait to try to get out like manually, sometimes you'll miss profit, taking profit. And in this scenario, it probably would have been a good thing because it flushed lower. But no, I'll already have my cover orders ready. But if it does, like, let's say I entered 299 and immediately flushed and I wasn't ready, then I'll just get out real quick with a limit order. But yeah, no, I'll always have I usually try to have orders waiting so I don't have to keep an eye on it. If it hits a certain level, I'm getting out. Hopefully that answers your question. Martin, nice job. Nice job. LPS in green on dilution tracker. It's another reason to let it run some then. Oops, I meant to look it up on AskEdgar. Yeah, all green. So this is, and they have 166 months of cash left. 171 million for a $83 million market cap. Yeah, good call, Martin. I'm not gonna mess with this one. And again, that doesn't mean it can't flush. It can go right back to 90, but this is just another reason to be cautious with it because it's a good company. I don't know what the news is. I don't really care at this moment. I'll look it up in a second, but yeah, I'm definitely not jumping in this one too early. Justin, what indicators do you have that is the drawing these pink red horizontal lines? Monthly pivots. Martin gets credit for those. I kind of treat them like the 200 SMA. It's just an area that they are attracted to. Martin can probably explain it better how they work, but like even like this one, like they kind of just I don't know, it's just another area that they acknowledge. You know, see how the 200 acknowledges it right here? You can have them on daily, and this thing is going now, it's ripping, and monthly. Because before I had that Kinfo interview and created the group and all that stuff, I was trading like a caveman, bro. And you really don't need a lot. All I had was 3 moving averages. All last year I didn't even use VWAP. I didn't even know, didn't even use VWAP. I just had 3 moving averages. That's the only thing I used. And I really didn't even I mean, I used them, but I like to keep it simple. Nice. So if it breaks above, so now it's breaking, yep, it broke below here. So now I would potentially enter if it was a crappy company. I'm probably going to stay out of it, honestly. But if it retests this level again, I might enter. But again, some traders will enter right here. I like having a good average because if you have a good entry, it's so forgiving. You can let them play a lot more. So that's kind of my mindset with it. But I do miss some of the flushes because I don't, immediately jump in there. But my entries are important because it's less stress on me. So I'll usually wait for it to pop back up and then I'll enter. And sometimes I miss a move, but I'm okay with that, But yeah, even though this is a pretty good company, and they have a lot of cash, and I say it's a pretty good company. It's probably not a great company, but they have cash, and cash is king. That's how you survive in the small cap world. But if it gets up to like 135, I'll enter. And see, that was a pop-up right there. I could have entered at VWAP. But again, since it's a decent company and they have cash, I'm probably not going to enter unless it gets back up to the 130s to 135. Yeah, no, I've had a pretty good trading day today, but I just haven't leveraged enough capital today, so I'm only sitting at 980 on the day. Well, and there hasn't been that many plays. I've sat on the sideline for a lot of them too. So this could be an entry, not for me, but this could be an entry. That's why, I don't really like catching this move because if you got in at 119, 118, now I'm stressing. Now, you know what I mean? Now I'm stressed out. So I like to wait for this 130, 135 range. Since I'm gonna play it. Again, I'm not super excited about it, but I'm gonna play it at 134. If it gets up to 134, I'm gonna re-enter or enter for the first time, I think. Yeah. And if it doesn't get there, it doesn't get there. And then tight stop. Going back to the 5 minute, I'll look at the 1 minute. Yeah, the 1 minute still looks pretty solid because it did fall below VWAP, but the buyers came in. So now I'm in 1,000 shares at $1.34. If it again, data says that my win percentage goes down after 8:30. So I know this, and that's because sometimes these will rip. If it closes above this candle right here, 138, I'm getting out. And when I say close, I'm referring to a 5-minute candle. So I will get out if it closes above this or if it just starts ripping. So if it like gets up to 145, I don't care if the candle is closed, I'm getting out. Hope that makes sense. Because I don't want to risk, it just going against me really hard. And again, I might end up taking profits quick on this one too, because this could be the runner of the day. Kind of wish I would have taken profits there. It would have only been like 80 bucks, 90 bucks. See? So I'm going to wait to see if it closes unless it starts ramping up even more, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one starts running. Honestly, if it gets over 140, I'm not going to wait for it to close. I'm just going to get out because there's, I just think this one's going to run today, to be honest. Could be wrong. So the candle technically did close above it. So I'm out. Again, I might get faked out here, but dang, I should have held, but I'm not. It's just not worth it to me. There's just a lot of reasons. There's just a lot of signs that this one could rip. A lot of cash, all green on AskEdgar from a dilution offering standpoint. After 8:30, nothing else is really moving. It's getting the money flow. 20 million shares have already been traded on it. So there's just a lot of indicators for me that don't force it, bro. That's what I'm hearing in my head. I already have locate. So if it gets to these levels, I might consider it. But again, yeah, last couple of days have been kind of brutal. No drastic moves. That's where you make the money. Is these big overextended moves, or that's where I make the most money. Good morning, Trend Raider. Yeah, I I don't have as good of luck playing the 20-30% pops, especially the slow grinders. Oh, that's another reason I don't like this one. This is slowly grinding up too. So there's just a lot of reasons why I don't really care for this play. I think this is a better long. If it comes back to VWAP, I think that's a better long play than short right now. I'm not saying you should take a long position, but I just think this is an ill-advised short right now. Dang, like not much action. And I didn't want to play during the day, but I'm not really satisfied with where I'm at on the day. It just has not been, not a lot of plays I like. If SGBX gets to 50 cents, I'll be interested. SGBX. But it's still only at 34 cents. Tough market, guys. I appreciate y'all tuning in, but man, it hasn't been, this week's been a little bit tough trading. I'm green every day so far, but they haven't been super impressive. I think 3,400 on Monday, but I think 2,300 yesterday. Now I'm up only like $900. Or probably I took a little loss on that last play. So where am I at? Yeah, I'm at 880 now. So just it's been a little bit tough market. Yeah, green's better than red, but I'll have a red one. Um, I'll have a red one at some point, and I feel like my cushion's not as big as I'd like it to be. But my red days, besides vape, that's the outlier. But those are the ones that hurt, unfortunately. But I've been keeping my red days in relatively small. Took a long on LPSN average 101 news with Google Cloud. Nice job. Took a long on LPSN average $1.01 news with Google Cloud. Oh, I didn't even know that. Yeah, so that's an even more reason to stay away from a short on this guy. Just hopping in here for the first time. Find you very, very educational, brother. Thank you for being here. No, appreciate it, man. That means a lot. That's why I do this, bro. I learned the hard way. I lost a lot of money before I became profitable, but good stuff. Especially your average at 101. Bro, you up over 50%. Nice job. So this is a previous level we're approaching. There's too many bullish like indicators for me with this one. I'm going to avoid it. Like, could it reject here? Yes, it could. But again, as I mature as a trader, I just don't force things anymore. So could it fail at this level? Yes. Same thing with 179, same thing with 208, but it's not a bad company and they have cash and apparently Google News. So I don't know why I keep watching it. I should just look at something else, but there's nothing really to look at. It's kind of a brutal market. But that almost gives me a more bullish thesis on LPSN because a lot of people will be playing this today, longs, more than likely if nothing else is running. So might just have to be content with where I'm at on the day. Look at this chat. We had a few longs in it today. Longs and shorts getting along. But if you look on like Twitter and stock tweets and stuff, it's like shorts and longs like hate each other. I'm just like, bro, like we're playing the same game. I like to play both sides, but I just don't take longs very often. I'm just not as good at it. IPDN breaking down again. Let's see. Yeah. Again, I'm not as good at playing the downtrend, but hopefully some of y'all caught it. I missed that AIMD popping in. Ooh, I need to catch something. Okay. I'm gonna see if it gets up closer to 3 and then I'll re-enter, but it is challenging this level right here, this previous one. It still feels like I'm forcing these plays. They're just not up much, but not to sound like a broken record, but I'm gonna set a entry at 299. If it gets it, it gets it. On the 5-minute, it's definitely looking pretty good. And not saying this isn't a good entry. It probably is a good entry, but I'm just going to wait till 299 because it's already proven it can get there. So, and I'm in it. So, let's see. 305 is the key. Hoping for a fail here. And again, it could get bullish, but I'm only going to risk a few cents. If it breaks above 305 and holds, I'm out. Or if it's a very bullish candle and just like goes berserk, I'm going to get out. But let's see if we get a fail here. Nope. Yep, maybe. I'm still in it. And some of y'all might be wondering, like, why didn't I put my entry at 304? That would have been a better entry. But 3 is a psychological level. I wasn't confident it was going to break above it. And I wanted to get filled. Hindsight's 2020. Yeah, I wish I would have did 304 or something. I'm in 1,000 shares, so I'm up only about $100 on it, but I've been playing small today because again, none of these are A+ setups. It's only up 24%. This is not even my typical play. So I'm not going too heavy, but I'll take profit. I trimmed 500 shares at 289, and I'll trim the other 500 at 281 if it gets there. Should have went a little heavier, but I trade my size based on my conviction. So if it's a play I really like, I'll go heavier. If it's like a B setup, I would say this is a C setup for me, best case scenario. It actually doesn't even meet my criterias, but I want to get at least over $1,000 before market opens. Because I have a busy day. Busy day. And I don't want to be trading during market hours. What was this? What was the AIMD news? Three-year subscription, order valued at 2.1 million for the first deployment of AI nose and semiconductor manufacturer setting. Okay. So there's some, I mean, between AI, semiconductor, those are decent, like PR words. 2.1 million is really not that much money. I mean, for probably most of us it is, but for PR, it's not that great. I might get out here. If it gets back to 285, I'm getting out. I'm out. Okay. I'm over $1,000, so I'm feeling a little bit better. But again, still a weak day. Like this has been a painful day to get here. So LPSN, I probably should have took a short here. It's definitely acknowledging that level. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes back to VWAP and just bust through that level 2, but not level 2, level comma 2. But yeah, still not interested in it though. Yeah, I noticed that. A lot of resistance from 310 to 340. Where are we at? AIMD. And I'm a mobile trader, guys. So I do this all on my phone. So sorry if I suck at trading view. Is this a level I marked previously, I think? And usually I'll play these a few times. Oh, I did that earlier. Okay. I marked that one. Got it. Usually I'll just keep playing these up and down, up and down. I did that. Y'all probably saw it on live yesterday. But again, these moves are just from 3 to 280. That's only 20 cents. And if I'm risking up to like 10, 15 cents, it's just the risk versus reward is no longer there. So I'm not going to trade it until it gets back to maybe this level. Yeah, I'll definitely trade it right here. So I'll try to like get in around 325 or so. 325 to 330, I think is a decent entry for me because I can't give financial advice. It's for educational purposes only. Don't come at me, SEC. I say that jokingly, but I see why there's disclaimers because there's a lot of fake gurus out there just saying some wild stuff. And short selling is risky, but there's ways to obviously limit your risk. So I have a Alexander. I don't know if you're still. Oh no, you said you were dipping out. So like on the reverse side, I'll do the same here. I have an order waiting. I'm not trying to manually do it when it gets there. I have an order waiting at what did I put it at? I already forgot. 327. Yeah, now, that's a random number, but if you do 330, you might not get filled because that's probably going to be where it rejects. It could go up to 332, 335, then reject totally, but I want to make sure I get my entry. So I did 327, risking 3 cents. I mean, 3 cents versus 330. I'm in it. And if it breaks through this and holds, I'm out pretty quick though. So it's above it. Let's see if it holds. I'm in 1,000 shares. So let's see how this plays out. Would love to see a nice flush right here, but and I spoke on this earlier. The longer it hangs out in this area, the less my conviction is. We haven't seen any of them today, or maybe we have. I just can't remember. But my favorite is whenever it approaches this and then just immediately rejects, because that shows you there's a lot of selling pressure. The longer it hangs out in this area, it's showing there are some buyers that are hanging out, buying at this level, potentially assisting with the potential break, but it looks like it's going to come down. But sometimes you'll see, especially after market opens, you know, the 9:30 to 10:30, the retest. A lot of times when they'll retest, they fail immediately and they just come crashing down. Sometimes they halt down after they test the level. But the longer it hangs out here, the more my conviction is that it could break. So I'm feeling fine where we're at now, but I mean, the quicker it fails, the better. Okay, feeling good here. Trying not to take profit early. It's a decent move down. Could happen, so I'm gonna wait for it. Three's a psychological level, so I'm gonna take some probably right above this candle, 306. small amount of profit, and then I'm gonna let the rest ride. Because it could bounce right here at 305 since that's a previous wick up. So I'm gonna do 306. And then I'll ride the rest to like 290. Look at the comments. Ian, do you ever forget you have an order set, then it gets filled and you don't manage it because you forgot? Yeah, no, that's definitely happened. Surprisingly, they usually go in my favor though, because I tend to take profits too quick. Sometimes they have went against me, yes, but you wouldn't believe how many times I've set orders and again, not proud of this. This is not how you're supposed to manage a position, but I'll trade multiple positions at once. I haven't been doing it today because there just haven't been multiple opportunities that meet my criteria. But yeah, that's totally happens, Ian. Again, it's just but most of the time they go in my favor. You wouldn't believe how many times, like especially after market open 9:30 to 10:30, I'll have a few orders set and then I'm focusing on one play, then I'll pull up the other play and I'm like deep in the money. It's always a nice feeling. And I need to go back to what I used to do. I used to use, because I've always been a mobile trader, but for a small stint, I would set up like, what's it called? Oh, shoot, I'm about to show my ignorance. Oh, what kind of order is it? So basically, it's an order that will, I'm drawing a blank. What's it called? But basically, I'll set an order that's, let's just use this for an example. Let's say it's market open. I'll set an order at 327, and then you can make another order that if it gets to 335, you stop out or whatever. So it's like y'all, somebody will say it in the chat. So basically, you set the order at 328, and then it just stays open unless it hits 335 and then you stop out. So that's the best way to do it, Ian, is because it'll give you room to let it fall, but if it does go against you, you can stop out. I forget what those orders are called, OTO or bracket order, yeah, something like that. Yes, a stop limit, but it's basically like what Alex said. It's not called a bracket order, but it's called something similar. I'll find it. Hold on. I thought it was like OTO or something. Yeah, one triggers the other. Yeah, it is OTO. So it's called a one triggers the other. So basically, hits 327, then that stop loss appears at 335. And then that's the best way to do it. Again, y'all know I just hit my profit zone, by the way, 306. I'm going to hold the rest to see if it gets down to 290. That's the best way to do it, Ian. It'll help you sleep at night or take a nap or do other things or whatever, you know. Or OCO. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's not a range. It's a OCO or OTO. I think that must be used interchangeably. Your range, basically, you enter the position. If it gets to 335, it stops out, or if it gets to 290, you take profit. This is one that once it hits that level, then it triggers another order. Yeah, AIMD would be a good one for it. I don't think you can do it in pre-market, but you can do it during market hours. And I'm not really sure why I haven't taken advantage of it much. I think it's mostly because I'm a mobile trader and TradeZero doesn't have that option for mobile. But it's a good safety net, very good safety net. Keeps your risk only, let's just say 5 cents if you have your order at 3:30, but the reward can be, you know, $1, 50 cents, wherever it falls. I'm in at 325. The short bear has a good point about that, Justin. He said that pumpers should sell into the liquidity to get in a cascading down effect. Yeah, I've heard you talk about the short bear before. I'm gonna have to look him up. Is he on YouTube? Just say yes or no. You don't have to add a link. I don't want people to leave me to listen to him. Just kidding. But is he on YouTube? Oh, I know who he is. I know exactly who he is. But yeah. I looked him up, but he hasn't posted any new videos in a while, unless I'm thinking of somebody else. I know who you're talking about now. All of us have similar names. Cool. Yeah, Friendly Bear, Bear Wall Street, Short Bear. We go too hard with the bear stuff. Yeah, I've watched some of his old videos too. He plays the downtrend a little bit, or more than I do. I like to play the front side. He'll, I think, what does he call it? Like pyramiding or something? Care Bear. Yeah, nice one. Short cub. Yeah. Or like the longs like to call us gay bears, and there's all kind of, they go hard. The long speed. Honestly, it's so funny going on like Twitter and stock tweets and hearing how people talk about shorts like we're the freaking devil. It's like, no, we see a hole in the market, bro. Y'all are the ones that are excited about trash companies. But when longs get it right, y'all make good money. The upside with longs are, you know, insane, but to catch the whole long move, that's tough. Yeah, pyramiding, it's not much different. Again, I would love to give him credit for it, but it's I kind of started doing that. Like that's kind of how CWD, kind of how I was talking about it earlier. So when it gets these pops, like it's still in a downtrend. So like a pop like this, that's when I'll sometimes enter, and it's similar to his strategy about pyramiding. But I do remember watching that video, so it might have influenced me some. That was a while back though. But it's kind of like common sense. It really does make sense. Once it gets in a downtrend, pops back up, enter, go down, pops back up, enter, and you can really build a position. I take profits a little too quick though.
COSM.
BOSM. Gosh, all these pops are so weak. They retested this level, but it looks like it's not very liquid. I'll probably be wrapping up soon. I mean, I'll stay on for the next night, probably 5 to 9 minutes. But I haven't been playing market open as much. Might come back into the day, watch them fade. See if there's anything that might fade. Eastern is terrible, stupidest trader. It is terrible. I'm jealous of like the international, because I love the 4 a.m. plays, the 4 a.m. pops, but it's brutal waking up at 4 a.m. And I know it's even worse for the West Coast because that's what, like 2 or 1 o'clock. But international traders, depending on where you're at, it's in like the afternoon or midday. Kind of jealous. But yeah, today's the last day of my travel. I'll be in my home setup tomorrow. So, and Steven might hop on as well. He was having some issues with his broker today. It's because he doesn't use TradeZero. Links in the description. I like having Steven on though, so hopefully he can figure it out. Bro goes heavy. He killed it last month. 140K month last month. He gives me more credit than I probably deserve, but he did come into the group making like $800,000 days, and now the circle group, and now he is killing it. If I get 5% credit, I'll take it because the dude's a beast. LPSN right before market open. Like I said, I'm not taking this long position. I'm not that confident in it, but it could pop here. Thanks for hopping on. See you next time, bro. I bet this thing rips at market open. I don't want to be in AIMD when market opens, so I'll probably get out of the position at some point. It could flush down, but you know what? I'm about to take a small. I'm gonna take a small long on LPSN. And at $1.40, let's see what happens. I'll play this one through market open though. I think it might rip. Basically, I'll stop out. What is it at? $1.36 or $1.30. So what did it go to? $1.35. I'll stop out around $1.34. Maybe $1.33. Give it a little breathing room. Only in 1,000 shares, so small position. Do you hold positions during the open? I used to. It kind of goes back to like my conviction on the play. So, for example, AIMD, I potentially would if LPSN was ripping. There was a few other plays over 100, like over 50%. You know, if there was a lot of action getting other people's attention, then yes. But with it being a slow market, this might be the one that rips. So again, it's like hopefully that makes sense. So if there was a lot of, like, if you pull up your top gainers and there was, like, you know, a bunch, and I'm not like, this is very common, but if there's a lot of stocks over 50%, 100%, yeah, I would hold these, because people will probably forget about them and then it'll go back down. But there's not a lot of action right now. So I'm a little, there's too high of a potential that AIMD might run. So I'm probably not going to. Volume is building up on AIMD. Another reason not to hold it. Yeah, Woodworks. I just, again, I probably overthink some of these plays, but I just try to find, you know, just try to find the edge. And today, I don't think there's an edge in holding it to market open. And it probably will flush. Most of these flush. That's what they do. But there's a chance that it could rip too. So I'm just not going to gamble today. I got a lot to do today. Very busy day. And when I have a red day, I would love to say it doesn't affect me, but it does, because I don't have them very often. And not trying to sound cocky, but like, I don't. Like, that's the benefit of going short. The problem is with me, with when I do have a red day, sometimes I let it get a little bigger than it should. So that's what I'm trying to avoid, because it kind of messes up my mental space on the day. If I do, especially if I do something stupid, then I'm just like repeating it in my head. So I'm up over $1,000. Definitely not a great day, but okay, I'm closing the position now. LPSN, I might end up stopping out of this one. Let's see what it does right here. Nope, it was a fake out. So I'm just going to set a stop at, where is it? $1. I'm gonna do $1.33 and then just let this baby run. If it does, might not. And I'm glad I got out of AIMD because it's bouncing. I'm just kind of watching what happens. Then I'm probably gonna get out here soon. And I'm about to get stopped out. So I got stopped out of LPSM. No big deal. See, AIMD might end up being the one that runs. Or I might have just stopped out too soon. But we will see. But on that note, guys, I'm gonna wrap up. Thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it. Let me see if there's any comments for CYRX. I'll pull it up real quick. CYRX. Is it bouncing? It is. Oh, that was a beautiful retest. Nice. I was late to the party, but yeah, I love those
EQS.
plays. You see how quick it failed? This is a 1 minute. Look at the 5 minute. Like, boom, that was a quick fail. So those are the ones you feel good about. But anyways, on that note, guys, have a good one. Hopefully y'all make some money today. And if you're not subscribed, I'd appreciate it. Like the video. And I have a Discord wait list in the description. And I will see y'all next time.